So yesterday, the whole Philadelphia Eagles community, they wake up to an article written by some guy named Joe Scaramanga, Joe Santoliquito. Say that 10 times fast. Comes out with this story from the Philly Voice, which is it's like a bombshell piece about how Carson Wentz is egotistical and he's a bad teammate and he bullies the coaches and he's an all-around bad guy to be around. He's a day walker. He smells. He sits while he pees. Basically all the bad things that you could say about somebody. Now, like all the other Eagles fans, we all didn't read the article, at least for the first hour. See this article saying that Carson Wentz is this huge problem with the team. And, all of us Eagles fans are looking at this do we really need to be thinking about trading Wentz and not Foles? And this guy says he has sources. He has sources with the team. He has what he calls unnamed sources. Now, the biggest thing about unnamed sources is the fact that I'm one of those people who I don't deny that people came up to him saying that, Carson Wentz is all of these things. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all. I think that it's entirely possible that they feel a certain way about Carson Wentz, but at the end of the day, sometimes there are people that you're just not going to like. Sometimes there are people that you just can't get along with. There are some people who are going to say in the locker room that you are a bad teammate. You just put this out on the table, right? If Carson Wentz is such a bad guy, if Carson Wentz is just selfish, egotistical, if he bullies the coaches so much, he always targets Zach Ertz, which is a main part of the article, that he's just got tunnel vision and he just goes after Zach Ertz, and people are upset about this. My main question is, why aren't you going ahead and telling the coach about this? Why are you going out there and telling Doug Peterson, who he's the head honcho, okay? He has all the control. This Joe Scaramucci manga guy is basically coming out and saying that it's not Mike Groh's fault. He's saying that it's Carson Wentz's fault because Carson keeps trying to change the plays. But this is the fact that Carson Wentz has been changing the plays since his rookie season. Kill. He's been doing that since his rookie year. This isn't even something that I need to look up. This is common knowledge. I watched all the games. This guy comes out and says that Carson Wentz can basically point his finger and someone gets fired, someone gets cut. That literally doesn't make any sense at all. He comes out and says that Carson Wentz is selfish. Carson Wentz made these food trucks as a charity to feed the hungry. Basically feeding people with his own money, feeding people sandwiches. And it got so out of control that he wasn't even feeding the hungry anymore. He was just giving people sandwiches for free. That's how out of control this charity got. Wentz does a charity softball league where he has players play for him in his softball league. Carson Wentz, after the worst game of the season against the Saints, where he threw 3 interceptions and less than 200 yards, he came out and was like, yeah, this game was all on me. This game was all my fault. This game is just me. All me. My fault. Makes him egotistical. That somehow makes him not able to take criticism. It's really funny though, because Joe, whatever his name is, basically comes out and says that it's universally known, the offensive line believes so, that Carson Wentz is this really, really bad dude. But the only issue is the fact that Jason Kelce has come out supporting Wentz, Brandon Brooks has come out supporting Wentz, Stefan Wisniewski has come out and supported Wentz, Lane Johnson has supported Wentz. Zach Ertz has come out supporting Wentz, and you might say, well, of course Zach Ertz is going to support Wentz. He only throws the ball to him. Here's a little statistic for you. Apparently, according to Pro Football Reference, Carson Wentz threw the ball to Zach Ertz 9.6 times per game. You know how many times Nick Foles threw it to him? Like 9.3. There's literally no difference there. No difference at all. And they both threw the ball to Alshon Jeffrey literally the same amount of times, the same amount of targets. So, no. There really is no tunnel vision. The only reason why there is tunnel vision is because of the heightened amount of targets and receptions Zach Ertz got. His jersey is literally sitting there in Canton, right next to George Kittle, because he broke the record for most receiving catches in a season. Hang on, you might say, well, of course, those starters really think so. They're friends with Wentz. The matter is that Jake Elliott has come out, the kicker. Nate Sudfeld has come out. The same guy who is in the room with the coaches, with Mike Rowe, is saying that Carson Wentz is a great leader and a great teammate. That's what he's saying, basically. He bullied Mike Rowe, and the reason why, he went on Angelo Cataldi's show. He basically came out and said the reason why he was bullying Mike Rowe was because, get this, not because he gave him a wedgie, because he put boogers in his play sheet. He peed in his office. He didn't want to run the plays that Mike Rowe wanted to run. Bullying. That's not bullying at all. And here's the thing. The thing that they don't say is the fact that when we got the Swiss Army knife known as Golden Tate, okay, Eagles fans thought that Golden Tate was going to be this dynamic player, and he still is a dynamic player. But I remember after that Saints game, Mike Rowe came out and he was like, yeah, I don't know how to use Golden Tate. Stupid. Was that an article? It was nowhere near the article. It wasn't even written. It wasn't even written at all. The matter is that Joe What's-His-Face, he didn't even give the Eagles a chance to comment. He was like, I gave the Eagles a chance to comment. And they didn't. He gave them the chance to comment 40 minutes before the article was released. Are you serious? No, you didn't. You didn't. No, you didn't. Say. Okay, about Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz didn't go by expectations, but with a torn ACL and a fractured vertebrae, and he threw 3,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's actually pretty decent for a guy who was freaking injured all season. I love Carson Wentz. If the Eagles decided to trade Carson Wentz tomorrow, I'd be fine with it because I love Nick Foles. I've got his jersey, his Vapor Untouchable customized jersey. Okay, I don't care, right? It doesn't really matter to me. The only one thing that really pisses me off about this article, because I read this article and I laughed. I thought this article was the funniest thing ever. I almost thought it was a farce. Just because here's a guy who, he basically uses confirmation bias, and he went on Angelo Cataldi's show and he was like, no, that was not my intention. I didn't want to do that. I just, I'm the best thing going for Carson Wentz. Bro, Carson Wentz has got a life. Carson Wentz is the starting quarterback of a football team. Bro, you're nothing. At one point, he says that Carson Wentz was getting yelled at by a pretty prominent teammate on the team. And I don't exactly know who that teammate was. I don't really care. But he basically uses it against Carson Wentz. You'd think that if someone was yelling at you, right, if a teammate was yelling at you, wouldn't that be their problem? Wouldn't that be their problem for yelling at you? Isn't it their problem that they have an anger issue? It's like, a lot of people think that player might be Alshon Jeffrey. I don't really want to think about that. I do know that Alshon came out at one point and was like, yeah, I'm not getting enough touches. And I remember it was a Monday Night Football game, and Carson Wentz forced a pass to Alshon Jeffrey, and it was intercepted by Josh Norman. me just get to the end of this, okay? The end of this goes like this. He got death threats, and I don't condone death threats at all. I don't. I think that is disgusting. Death threats are for Chicago Bears fans. No matter what someone's saying about your favorite player, you should never give them death threats. It's not okay to give journalists death threats. It's not okay to write the guy's address down and post it on the internet so that people can do stuff with him. He's also gotten a few kill yourself messages. I don't agree with that. I don't believe in that. That's BS. You don't need to do that in order to prove a point. What I'm going to say is this, though. The guy saying that Carson Wentz lacks accountability, the guy who's saying that Carson Wentz is egotistical, he's a bad teammate. This is the same guy who, when people tried to correct him on his article, would block people on Twitter. That's not taking accountability. That's being egotistical. This guy created this piece. I have no reason not to believe in his sources, okay? I have no reason not to, but this guy created this piece in order to gain fame, to gain popularity, and congratulations, you got it. But at the other end of the spectrum, right, when you say something controversial, when you say something that is a bombshell piece like that, about someone who is widely popular in the organization, get ready for some pushback. So I don't condone the threats. I don't condone the letters of the suicide letters. But I will say this: your press pass is revoked, buddy. You're never coming back into the locker room again. You could say goodbye to your NFL reporting days. You really could. That's all I'm gonna say about this story. I didn't really want to wake up to that on my Martin Luther King day, on my day off. But one thing that I will say is that, some of that stuff might be true. I don't know. I don't know who said the stuff like that. But I'm going to say this. If you have the confidence to go to somebody in order to say stuff about somebody, right? If you're going to go and say something bad about somebody, that says more about you as a teammate than it does about anyone else. And that's all I have to say. Peace.